Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. WWE superstar Charlotte Flair defends her SmackDown Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley this weekend at WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles. Flair visited WTOP in studio in 2018 when SmackDown hit Capital One Arena, where we also discussed the inaugural Women's Royal Rumble and what she learned from her legendary father, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, a 16-time world champion in the NWA, WCW, and WWF. Woo! My tag team partner on this interview was my former WTOP colleague, Chris Gian.
Charlotte, how you feeling this morning? You made your appearance last night on the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw, and got to see you with your father as well, Ric Flair. That was awesome.
That felt good. To be back on Raw with him, I had so much fun the first 2 years on the main roster. Being side by side with him. And you have to take this serious, because I always when you recite your dad, or you guys recite his lines all the time, but when I have to do it, I'm like, I feel so corny. But yeah, I meant it when I said it to Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss is the Raw Women's Champion, as you are the WWE Women's Champion. So the Royal Rumble, historic event, first Women's Royal Rumble. How exactly is that working? Is the winner going to be facing you at WrestleMania? Have they decided that yet?
Technically, they can choose. They can pick me or Lexi, or I like to call her Blister. But
digs.
But since I beat Alexa at Survivor Series, you would think who wins the Royal Rumble would want to face the woman.
The queen, the god, yes, absolutely. The queen over the goddess, I would say. Absolutely. 5-time women's champion there, Charlotte, as well. And then you have the mixed match challenge coming up with Bobby Roode. Your first match taking on Nia Jax.
I'm going to wear his robe. I tried to wear it on one of my entrances in one of the live events last weekend. He was like, take it off. And I was like, no one could tell it's yours. It looks like just like mine. He's like, take it off.
He actually said take it off.
Yeah, he was like, you can't wear it. I was like, but Bobby, it's I can't help that mine doesn't fit you, but that's my goal. So hopefully, or maybe when we have the match against Nia and Apollo, he'll let me. And we have a Titus brand there as well, so a lot of moving parts.
Titus brand featuring your former manager, Dana Brooke, which you had a little bit of a falling out with a couple of months ago.
She'll probably be confused on who to take orders from.
She certainly did, but that was really, Charlotte, a great time in your character. Your mic skills really are incredible, and just, will we see maybe a heel turn? Can you tease that at all in the next couple of months?
Right now I like tagging with my best friend Becky Lynch,
and of course
she brings out the good side of me. So I don't know, maybe eventually. I don't see it anytime soon.
And we've talked a lot about the Royal Rumble coming up this Sunday. But tonight we're here for SmackDown Live. What can you expect tonight here in D.C.?
Well, with the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, I'm sure every woman thinks that they're going to win. So I can imagine some shenanigans going down if they can't agree. But with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan cheating to beat the three of us last week, I know that Naomi probably wants, has a little something to say to Liv Morgan. So you could expect to see that. Obviously, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens, all of your favorite superstars will be on SmackDown tonight.
Randy Orton as well, who is my favorite male superstar.
Yes, he will.
Of course, you're my favorite women's superstar.
Out of nowhere. I think you could take Orton. I think you could.
And you and I talked a couple of years ago, Charlotte, and I had asked you because, what time were you up until New York last night? Till midnight? You get in here at 3 o'clock in the morning. You're up doing these interviews now.
I have my black tea. That's all I need.
But you also have to, continue training as well. So I guess the question I have for you is, how are you able to maintain a training schedule? And when we spoke 2 years ago, you told me that you like doing things that are fun in the gym. That keeps you kind of going in there. It keeps you motivated to say, all right, I'm doing this workout today. I enjoy doing it. Is that sort of the same mindset you have now?
Absolutely. With our careers, the more you invest in yourself, I feel it shows on TV, the fans invest in you. And that's just what's kept me so motivated, is this, ongoing schedule where I like being in the gym. I like being, in the ring, and just the physical part, and training is very much just it sounds corny, but like second nature. Like when I get home, I want to go to the gym with one of my friends and have a great workout. And it's just a part of my daily routine, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
when you mentioned driving, coming back from New York, this guy and I actually did a road trip to SummerSlam to see Brock and Taker Part 2 was that a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But talk about, seeing some of those legends last night. Did you get any cool interactions with them backstage? Or I'm sure, with the Family Legacy, you've met them a lot before. But
So I feel like when I'm backstage with a bunch of the legends and my dad there, I go back to being 12 years old because it's so great seeing my dad catch up with them and the stories they tell. Like, for instance, we were sitting in catering, and I had no idea that Bret Hart could draw really well.
Really?
And my dad was telling Natty this story about if, well, I can't go into too much detail, but like if Bret Hart would draw you in like a character, like picture, and I guess you never wanted to be on that list. And it was just him telling these old stories, and it's great to be around everyone. And then it's like hard to think, like for instance, when I see Stone Cold, it's hard for me to think like, well, I'm in his business as well, and right. I'm a part of this Raw 25 anniversary, and there's been a lot of milestones for women, but no, he's a superstar. Oh wait, yeah, I'm a WWE superstar as well. Like he's
a peer now.
It's really weird to think that like, oh, we're just on the same show, no big deal. And you would think that I wouldn't feel that way with who my dad is, but no, like I don't look at my dad as Ric Flair. I'm like, usually like, Dad, stop it. Like last night he was like, honey, Bad Bunny's coming to see me in my robe. And I'm like, what are you doing with Bad Bunny? I'm so confused right now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, that's great that he's still having a good time with it. And we saw on last night's show a number of women in the sport, and for the legends there, the Bella twins. We saw Tori Wilson. We saw even Trish Stratus, Jacqueline. I can go right down the list. Was there any one of them that you looked up to as you were growing up? And then are you looking forward to maybe facing one of them in the near future here in WWE?
So my dad and I had a dual memoir come out in September called Second Nature.
Yep.
And I talk about WrestleMania 24 when I was backstage seeing Michelle McCool in the makeup chair. And I was just in awe. I was like, wow, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. That's a diva. Because at that time, obviously, I didn't even really grow up watching wrestling. I just was a fan of my dad and never thought I'd be in this business. So I just remember that year was at 2008. So just thinking at that time I was in college, just how I was blown away by her. And then seeing her last night and then being like, no, I'm a diva too. That's crazy. Like, it's just crazy where life takes you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey going to come into the WWE ring?
She knows
That's
where
the
to
rumor.
find me.
Absolutely.
You have any fighting words for her?
She knows where to be the woman, you got to beat the woman in WWE.
Yeah, exactly. I want to hear, good save. I want to hear about the 30 for 30 doc. What was that process like? Because that was amazing.
So I was really nervous at first because as a daughter, you just want to protect your dad. And my dad's so honest, and that's one of the things I love about him the most. But I was like, at work, I tried to keep my personal life so private because, our family has been, on a roller coaster the last few years. And so I was like, oh, well, what if they think this, but this is not what he means? And then I said, that my siblings said, oh, he wasn't home and he did X, Y, Z. And then I was like, yeah, things were dysfunctional. I don't know. I was like, oh, but my dad never, when he was home, he was at every sporting event, took me to every camp, brought me lunch every single day to school. Like, wow. I don't know many fathers. I mean, he was like a mom. And that didn't show through the 30 for 30, and I felt really bad. But then when it came out and I saw the outpour of people just thanking him for, his commitment to this industry, I was like, oh, I'm going to get emotional thinking about it.
Yeah.
I was just like, I was so proud of him. And I think a lot of people have a hard time being honest with themselves, and my dad is, and that's what made the 30 for 30 so special, is because you saw this man just be like, yeah, this is what I do well, this is what I do wrong, here I am.
Yeah. How's he doing, by the way? Because he had a little bit of a health scare recently.
He looked great last night.
He's got, color back, he's putting weight on, and he's doing really well. It's the happiest I've really seen him in a very long time.
A lot of people would say, and agree, the greatest of all time.
I think he's the greatest.
You're a little biased on that one, but we agree with that.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I took away from that documentary, we interviewed Rory, was the fact that your father was willing to go to long matches. Like, he talks about these Iron Man matches that he used to fight in 60 minutes, and the way he was able to really sell, when opponents would put their moves on him in his finishers, he really made it look like that affected him. And I thought that was a really cool thing as well.
Oh, for sure. And talking about schedules. So I was like, Dad, I got to, drive to Washington. I have media in the morning. Then SmackDown, I'm exhausted. And he's like, yeah, so anyways, what are you doing Wednesday? Like, no sympathy. And him being so hard on me all these years, I think what, drives me, because it's like, no, if you want to be the best, if you want to make this your passion, like, you don't have time to say, oh, I'm tired, I'm hurt. Like, my dad never did that growing up. And that's one of those things that you just can't teach. You just have to have it. And he would wrestle every single day. I mean, those stories about the guys in the NWA back in the day, no, they wrestled probably 7 days. I don't even know the number, but like twice as much as we do. Yeah. And we're on the road 270 days a year.
Without much of the fame and glory as you would today either. Like, it was some gritty stuff back then. Did he ever teach you the secret to the old turnbuckle flip? That was my favorite thing. He'd get launched into the turnbuckle.
I'm more athletic than him. So, no.
You hear that, Pops?
Yeah. Figure 8, twice as good as a figure 4. No, my dad never really... You would think that he taught me everything that I know today, but no, my dad just was a natural performer. The only thing he taught me was, if you don't have confidence, the audience won't believe in you. So that was something that I had to work on, because he just was like, I knew I was the man. I was like, all right, I'll find that out eventually, Dad. But no, he just, that's about it.
Well, SmackDown Live is here at Capital One Arena. I'll be there a little bit later on tonight. See Charlotte strut down to the ring with the women's championship that you can see right here. And the Women's Royal Rumble this weekend, which we are certainly really pumped about. We have a Royal Rumble pool going on. Unfortunately, Charlotte, you won't be in it, but when you are the queen, you don't have to be in it, because you will await the winner of said
I might
Royal
just run
Rumble.
out there and just jump in. Just toss me over the top. I'll just go leave.
We're going to actually have a Royal Rumble in the newsroom, too. We just throw people over the desk. So.
Oh, okay.
My money's on Chris.
Thank you, Charlotte, for coming in this morning and
thanks for
joining
having
us.
me.
Thank you so much. This is great.
My pleasure.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.